In February of 1959, a rescue team climbs a frozen mountainside in the Ural Range and finds a tent, half buried in snow, collapsed on one side. Inside, they find boots, coats, food, everything a person would need to survive a night in 30-degree cold, all still folded neatly inside. And the tent itself has been cut open, not from the outside, from the inside. Whoever did this didn't have time to find the door. 9 people had been camping in that tent. All 9 were now missing. 2 months later, when the last of them was finally found, this case would become one of the most argued over mysteries in the history of exploration. And after 65 years, we may have finally figured out why. Late January 1959, a group of 10 skiers and hikers boards a train heading into the heart of the Ural Mountains, deep in the Soviet Union. They're students and graduates from a technical institute, most in the early 20s, led by a 23-year-old named Igor Dyatlov. This isn't their first serious expedition. Every one of them is an experienced outdoorsman, trained for exactly this kind of terrain. Their goal? Reach a peak called Mount Otroten, ski back, and file the trip as one of the hardest rated hiking routes in the country. A few days in, one member of the group, a young man named Yuri, starts feeling sick. Joint pain, nothing serious, but enough that he makes the call to turn back. He says goodbye to his 9 friends at a remote outpost. He has no idea it's the last time he'll ever see any of them alive. The remaining 9 push on foot now, skis strapped to their backs, hauling gear across open snowfields, completely alone in one of the most isolated regions on Earth. For over a week, the trip goes almost exactly as planned. The group's journals, recovered later, describe the brutal cold, difficult terrain, but nothing alarming. Just 9 people doing what they came to do. On February 1st, they reach the base of a mountain the local Mansi people call Dead Mountain. For reasons that are still debated, they decide to make camp on the open slope itself, rather than descending into the tree line just a few hundred meters below, where they'd have better shelter from the wind. It's a small decision. It will turn out to matter more than anyone could have known. That night, the group's final diary entry describes howling wind and difficult conditions on the ridge. And then, nothing. No more entries, no more photographs. Whatever happened next happened in the hours after that final sentence was written. Weeks pass. No word from the group. Families grow worried, then frantic. Eventually, a search party is organized and sent into the mountains. On February 26th, they find the camp, and immediately something is wrong. The tent is still standing, mostly. Collapsed on one side, dusted in snow. Inside, everything is exactly where you'd expect it. Booths lined up, food rations, warm clothing, all neatly stored. Whoever left this tent didn't pack up to leave. They left in a hurry, without the very things that would have kept them alive. And the tent wall itself has been cut open from the inside, not the entrance zipper. A deliberate slash, as if getting out through the actual door wasn't fast enough. Outside, the search team finds footprints. 9 sets, leading away from the tent, down the slope, toward a tree line half a kilometer away. And here's a detail that still puzzles investigators today. The footprints aren't footprints of people running in panic. They're evenly spaced, deliberate. The tracks of people walking calmly in formation, away from their own camp, in a blizzard, at night, in temperatures around negative 22 degrees Fahrenheit. Following the footprints to the tree line, the search team finds the remains of a small fire, and beneath a large cedar tree nearby, the frozen bodies of 2 of the hikers. They are dressed only in light shirts and underwear. No coats, no boots, no hats or gloves, in temperatures that would give an exposed person frostbite within minutes. The cedar tree shows signs someone climbed it. Branches broken more than 15 feet up, as if someone was trying to see something in the dark, or trying to get away from something on the ground. Over the following weeks, the remaining bodies are found at increasing distances from the tent. Some better dressed than the first two, but still missing essential gear, as if the group had been sharing clothing between them, as some succumbed to the cold before others. All had died of hypothermia, except for the last 4. Those 4 are found much later, buried under meters of snow at the bottom of a ravine, 250 feet from the tree. And their injuries are different. One has a fractured skull. 2 others have severe chest trauma, broken ribs, internal bleeding consistent, according to the original medical examiner, with the kind of force you'd see in a car crash. And yet there's no bruising, no external wounds to explain it. Whatever caused this kind of internal damage did it without breaking the skin. It's this detail more than any other that would keep this case a mystery for the next 60 years. Naturally, this case attracted every kind of explanation imaginable. Let's go through the big ones, because ruling things out is how you actually get closer to the truth. Some early Soviet investigators floated the idea of an attack by the local Mansi people, but there's no evidence of this. No signs of a struggle, no footprints besides the hikers' own. And the Mansi were never seriously considered suspects by anyone with direct knowledge of the case. Then there's the radiation angle. A few pieces of clothing recovered from the bodies tested at elevated radioactivity. Mysterious, until you learn that 2 of the hikers had previously worked at facilities connected to nuclear materials. Slightly radioactive clothing on people who worked around nuclear material isn't actually that strange. There's the UFO theory, fueled by a few unverified sightings of lights in the sky around that time and region, which in the middle of the Cold War Soviet space program isn't exactly rare. Rockets, missile tests, and re-entering debris were common in that airspace. No physical evidence ties any aerial sighting to the campsite itself. And then there's the most infamous detail of all. Reports that one of the hikers was missing her tongue, cited for decades as evidence of something violent, even ritualistic. The actual medical examiner's report describes this, along with missing soft tissue around the eyes, as decomposition. The specific, well-documented result of a body being exposed to running water for an extended period before it was found in the spring melt. Grim, but explainable, not supernatural. So what does explain it? The most credible modern explanation didn't come until 2021, when a team of Swiss researchers ran an actual physics and engineering analysis on the slope itself. Here's the idea. The hikers cut into the snow slope to set up their tent, creating a small ledge, completely standard technique. But it turns out that specific cut, combined with a buildup of wind-driven snow above it, and a slight thaw refreeze cycle in the days before, created exactly the conditions for a slow, delayed slab avalanche. Not the dramatic roaring wall of snow you picture in movies, something much smaller and slower, but still carrying enormous weight and force, releasing hours after the cut was made, while the heat stopped. This explains almost everything at once. A slab of dense snow settling onto people lying in a tent could absolutely cause severe internal injuries and skull fractures without leaving external bruising. Compressed against the ground, there's nothing to bruise against. It explains the panic. Waking up to actual weight-crushing part of the tent is exactly the kind of shock that gets a knife through canvas instead of a fumble for a zipper in the dark. It explains why they left calmly once outside. The immediate danger was over, and now it was simply about finding shelter in the dark, in a blizzard, undressed, with some already critically injured. From there, the rest tragically explains itself. Some died of hypothermia, trying to get back to what was left of the tent. Others searching for firewood or shelter died from injuries sustained descending the slope in the dark. It isn't a single dramatic event. It's a chain of small, believable decisions, each one following logically from the last, ending in 9 tragic deaths. It isn't a perfect unanimous answer. Some researchers still debate the details, but for the first time in over 60 years, there's a theory that doesn't require anything except snow, physics, and human panic to explain what happened on that mountain. Today, the site is officially named Dyatlov Pass, and it's a protected memorial. Every year, hikers still travel there, some out of respect, some chasing the mystery itself. What happened to those 9 people wasn't supernatural. It wasn't a cover-up or a monster in the dark. Instead, it was cold, physics, and 9 people making the best decisions they could with almost no information, in the worst possible circumstances. That's arguably a harder thing to sit with than any conspiracy, because it means it could have happened to anyone. If you want more stories like this, the ones history almost forgot, and the ones that turn out stranger or sadder or more human than the myths built around them, that's exactly what Black Compass Chronicles is here for. Subscribe if you want to come along for the next one. I'll see you there.